Thanks very much, Rob. But I think Rob may have been president when I went. Rob, I won't say how long ago that was and how old that makes you. But I do want to thank Rob and Dan and the entire team at the Chamber for hosting today's event. I certainly appreciate that. It's a real source of pride for me as I go across the province to point out that we have the province's 7th largest city, yet its 3rd largest chamber. And I think that really speaks to the strength of our business community and the strength of our entrepreneurs. So thank you to all of you who make that talking point across the province relevant and possible for me. I'd also like to thank and recognize our City of Grande Prairie team. We have a number of our council members in the room today. First, Councillor John Crokin. John's been fantastic at representing the city at regional and community events. You'll see him out everywhere. And John, you won't mind if I point out that if there's a launch or a lunch, you're bound to be there. We also have Councillor Alex Gustafson, who's our new chair of our Public Works Committee. And as you'll be hearing later on in the speech, the Public Works Committee has a good few years laid out in front of it. Councillor Kevin McLean was last year's Municipal Government Day chair. He's been a fantastic asset to our council as well. Councillor Justin Monroe, who represents the city in relation to PREDA and the CRI, and is also on our provincial AUMA's Environment Committee. Councillor Kevin O'Toole is here in the room, and he's represented the city on the Philip J. Currie Dinosaur Museum Board, and we're certainly excited about that project, as you'll see. Councillor Lauren Radburn is here, and he's been key in our Economic Development Steering Committee, and we're going to be speaking about that in a little bit more detail. Councillor Helen Rice isn't here, which is not unusual because she's so involved in provincial affairs. She's our member of the AUMA board and very active, advocating on our behalf with the provincial government. And Councillor Dan Wong, who's here, who represents the city on the Wapiti Corridor Planning Society and the Peace Watershed Zone. So I'd like to recognize all of our council members that are here in attendance. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work on behalf of residents. We have a fantastic team, and those are the folks that really make it happen. Another important facet of our team at the City of Grande Prairie is our administration. The role of elected official and administration are hand in glove. I won't tell you who's the hand and who's the glove. It goes back and forth sometimes. But I do want to recognize those members of our administration that are here today. The City Manager, Greg Sherbach, Community Services Director, Gary Roth, Christine Donnelly from our Public Works area, Audrey Cherney from Intergovernmental Services, Karen Garapi from Protective Services, and Karen McGurskin from our IT and Corporate Services. If we can give them a round of applause. It's hard to believe that it's already April, and it's over a year ago that I gave my first State of the City address. I wanted to really key into what I said last time and give you a little bit of an update on where we are from there. Last time I spoke about Council just heading in to develop a new strategic plan, and I wanted to share some of the results of those discussions with you. I also want to share a little bit about the role of the strategic plan in the city's business cycle. The strategic plan is really a key focus of ensuring that over the course of the next 3 years, Council and administration are on the same page. So in the plan, we had 3 main focus areas: community engagement and consultation, service, balancing excellence with value, and fiscal sustainability. Now, community engagement and consultation really is that broad sector where we talk about engaging residents as people rather than just as taxpayers, ensuring that they're connected to their local government and involved in community affairs. So some of the key initiatives in that area were to develop a framework for community engagement, to update our current communications plan, to facilitate the organization of neighborhood associations, and to undertake a community partnership inventory of all the areas, programs, and services where the City of Grande Prairie partners with community organizations. The second area is balancing excellence with value. Balancing excellence with value really means looking at the services that the City of Grande Prairie offers and ensuring that we're delivering the services that residents want and delivering them in a way that they want to receive them. It also means looking to make sure that we're delivering things as efficiently as possible. Under this area, we reviewed our snow removal practices and service levels. We're developing a transition plan with regard to fire service and the change that happened with the County of Grande Prairie as of January of this year. We're also going to use our customer satisfaction survey results to ensure that we're enhancing our performance internally. And internally, we're also going to undertake a review of all of our programs and services to make sure that they're as efficient as possible. Another key area in this focus group is the review of the Crystal Center operational model. Council has completed that, and the outcome highlighted a mandate that focuses on economic development and spin-off into the community as a core principle for the operations of the Crystal Centre. And we also look in this area to develop an innovation recognition program to highlight the fact that both within our organization and outside in the community we have a fantastic percentage of innovators that really make Grande Prairie what it is. And the final focus area is fiscal sustainability. Now, fiscal sustainability is of course about the tax dollar, and it's core to what governments do, and it's core to what you elect people like myself and our councillors to take care of. We're also looking in this area at the big picture and about what we can do to ensure that Grande Prairie as a community and the City of Grande Prairie as an organization are on a solid financial footing. So to that end, we're working on developing a fiscal sustainability model to look at what it will take to ensure that Grande Prairie taxpayers aren't constantly under threat of increasing property taxes. We're working on coordinating a downtown land program to encourage redevelopment and reinvestment in our downtown core. And we're working on a post-annexation plan to ensure that as we move through annexation, the City of Grande Prairie is ready to encourage industrial development on those lands as they become within the city limits. And as I mentioned, our Economic Development Advisory Committee is working on developing an industrial development strategy. So as you can see, a number of the items that came up in our strategic plan from last year are already in the works with council and administration in the community. That strategic plan and its focus on efficiency and wise use of taxpayer dollars led to the budget that we saw this fall. Now, we are, I think, rightfully proud of our budget in that it delivered a 4% property tax increase this year, 3.7% and 3.3% in the next 2 years. Now, as you can see, it certainly isn't zero, but we know that it's going the right direction, and that is the lowest combined property tax increase of the past decades, so council is rightfully proud of that. Especially when you consider, as business owners, many of you know that inflation is a significant factor on all of us and all of our operations. Power, insurance, and fuel are not getting any less expensive, and Grande Prairie as a growing community faces significant challenges. The budget also, for the next 3 years, directed that there would be no new staff positions within the city organization and no changes to service levels. So we're going to continue to deliver the services that we are, and we make that commitment to the community, but we will be doing more with the resources that we currently have. Some of the challenges in that budget were the loss of the county fire agreement of about $2.2 million, the transfer of corporate services to Aquaterra, which was a revenue loss of about $2 million, and bringing in, recognizing the annualization of the operation of the Eastlink Centre, which will be about $4.2 million in its first year. So to be able to achieve those relatively small increases, Council used a couple of significant mitigation methods. First, we transferred $2 million from our financial stabilization reserve to ensure that we could iron out some of those significant bumps. And then finally, we transferred $1.7 million from our provincial municipal sustainability initiative grant program to be able to help iron that out. Some of the highlights from our capital budget include a $1 million contribution over the next 2 years to the Philip J. Currie Dinosaur Museum to highlight the fact that the City of Grande Prairie is committed to seeing this important regional project go forward. We have upgrades to the curling club and the live theatre for efficiency and life safety, as well as to modernize those facilities. We also, and this is one that the community has been asking for, is to relook at the leisure centre. And Council has committed $4 million over 2 years, starting in 2013, to revitalizing the leisure centre. This budget will also see the largest reinvestment in Muskosipi Park in years, including the development of North Muskosipi Park, which will bring the park finally across the bypass. And the timing will coincide with the development of the new Regional Health and Education Centre. And we believe that it really brings much needed park space to an area of the city that was certainly seeing a deficit. Also on the horizon for our downtown core is the construction of a new transit terminal. And this is something that is a technical sort of item, but you should all be very, very excited about. We're looking at purchasing land for and constructing a new snow dump site on the north of the city. This will improve our efficiency as it'll shorten the distance that snow removal crews have to travel to make their dump and get back into neighborhoods and pick up more snow. So hopefully when the city constructs that, you'll begin to see the impacts of that on our turnaround times. And finally, when we speak about road projects, and I mentioned the Public Works Committee, over the next 3 years, the city will be investing approximately $40 million combined into road rehab and road construction projects, so a significant amount. In fact, road rehab and overlay are one of the largest capital items that you'll see in our plan. I really believe that this council achieved a budget that walks a fine line between the financial and service demands of the community. We know that people are looking for value for tax dollar, and we believe that we've delivered that within our means in this budget, and we believe that we're continuing to deliver the services and capital priorities that residents are looking for. Under community engagement and consultation, council really had a number of specific items like updating our communications plan and the customer satisfaction survey, as I mentioned, but we were looking for something more, a way to engage residents on a personal basis. And that led us to the For the Love of Cities event, which many of you in the room attended. At that event, over 140 residents attended to hear author Peter Kageyama, who wrote the book For the Love of Cities, provide some practical tools on how residents can actually take a hand in developing and co-authoring the community that they really desire. Out of this, the city chose to fund 2 projects, the Prairie Pathways, Grand Prairie Footprints, which is an initiative to recognize community builders, and Take Back the Streets, which is a bike event that is already set for the 3rd of June. It was an interesting setup with the Love of Grand Prairie because we actually didn't have an outcome in mind, which is challenging, as you can imagine, for a municipal government. But the results have been absolutely fantastic. We've seen more results grow organically out of the event. One of the highlights for me is the GP Soup group, which has started to meet on the last Sunday of every month. This has been headed up by Lloyd Peel and Heather Renner, 2 residents who were in attendance at the For the Love of Cities event who thought the idea was fantastic. At Soup, residents get together, pay $10 and bring their own bowl, and for that you receive a meal of soup, and you get to hear presentations from people who are looking for fundraising for small community initiatives. Already, they've held 2 of these events, and we've funded some fantastic community initiatives. The next event is Sunday, April 29th at 6 p.m. at the LBX Center, and I encourage everyone here in attendance to join in. I think you'll find that it's a fantastic use of your time and very heartening.